Hey, what is up YouTube? This is Powers here with another one of my videos, and today, once again, we are with another tier list. And today, we're gonna follow up Romance of the Three Kingdoms, naturally, with Samurai Warriors, which I know you're supposed to follow it up with Dynasty Warriors because Dynasty Warriors is Three Kingdoms, but I felt like being a bit of a contrarian today. So let's talk about Samurai Warriors now. I see that there is a haven't played list. And I'm gonna just drag the ones I haven't played. This one, Chronicle 2, never played it. Samurai Warriors 3, never played it. These, never played. Chronicles of Samurai Warriors, never played the series. And Samurai Warriors Katana, mainly because I don't own the consoles that these are on, and it looks like not all of them came over here to the West. So that's always an issue that has to be dealt with when it comes to games from Japan and Koei games in general. Alright, so let's start off with the original, and that is Samurai Warriors 1. Now, these games were originally created to be a bit of a darker twist to Dynasty Warriors, since Dynasty Warriors was more fantastical, I guess, best way to say it, more lighthearted. The original Samurai Warriors is really depressing, like crazy depressing. I remember playing Mitsuhide Akechi's campaign, and I was like, wow, the voice acting for him was pretty good. And I think the voice acting in Samurai Warriors is a bit better than in Dynasty Warriors, so that was cool. And I think the game is fine for certain parts, but it does suffer from a lot of the Dynasty Warrior isms from the PS2 time period, which is just really slow frame rate. Graphically it's okay, but definitely nothing in comparison to other PS2 games of the time. I really liked the original base Samurai Warriors, and when you add the Extreme Legends expansion pack to it, it just adds many more characters and more modes to play around with, which is pretty cool. And it also has a very unique create a character mode too, like a custom officer mode with their own unique story to play as well. Each character that you play as also has split paths. Now, the problem with this game is just there's not a lot of characters, so there's a ton of generic officers that you face. And the combat, I think, is solid, but like I said, it suffers from PS2 Dynasty Warrior isms with it being kind of slow moving around. And so because of that, I do like this game overall. But I haven't really been compelled to play as all the characters. There's only 4 tiers this time around. Let's put this on the B tier. It's a solid game. If you do have a PS2, I definitely would recommend that you play it, but it's not like something I really would recommend you to play, if that makes sense. Alright, the next game is going to be Samurai Warriors 2. I've played this one on the 360, which is a far better way of playing this game than on the PS2. Graphics aren't really improved that much, but the frame rate is far better on the PS2 than the far better frame rate on the 360 than on the PS2. This is a step up from Samurai Warriors 1 in certain ways. Ultimately, more characters, more to do. Unfortunately, there's no branching paths. The Extreme Legends versions to this has some really awesome modes. One of them where you get to play as an officer of your choosing, and basically you can influence on how the whole war goes and to see what side you want to ultimately choose on. There was also a board game addition to it. So in terms of pure modes, it already surpasses Samurai Warriors 1 in that regard. And like I said, more characters. The first game had co-op too, so this one also continues with the co-op, which these games are far better with 2 players than 1 player, like easily. Like I said, I enjoyed. I think I enjoyed this one far more than the first. I've completed more characters in the second one than the first, even though I don't really like the tone as much in this one because they definitely went more lighthearted. But they've also introduced some awesome characters. As you can see here, Kotaro Fuma, he's one of my favorite characters in the series. And they also introduced Jinchino Tachibana, which Jinchino Tachibana was not that strong in this one, but in Warriors Orochi, yo, she is mad strong. Yo, in Warriors Orochi 2, she is crazy strong. Oh, and you know, they brought back Ina and Tadakatsu Honda, so they brought back a lot of the characters from the first game as well. Some are missing. I think one is missing. I think it was just Yoshimoto Imagawa that's missing. But yeah, far better roster, far more to choose from in Samurai Warriors 2, and it just feels smoother too on the 360. And we actually get to, you know, the battle of Sekigahara, which is very important. And the first game never even touched that. It still doesn't follow history 100%, but I do think it's a solid step up from the first game in all ways but the tone, because I prefer the darker tone in the first game, but I think it works well enough. Now the next one is Samurai Warriors 2 Empires. If you know me, I prefer the Empires series over the originals. This is going to be pretty easy for me. I'm going to put this on S tier. This is not only one of the best Samurai Warriors games, but this is one of the best, like, this is the best, like, Empires games that Koei's ever produced. This basically takes a lot of what Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires does, which is easily one of the best Empires games for Dynasty Warriors, and basically takes it up a step further. You can host tournaments. You know, basically, let me just step back. So in the Empire series, instead of just doing missions, you know, your goal is to basically take over Japan. There's various scenarios that you can choose from, and Japan is a far more interesting. There's a lot more interesting things going on, because it's not just three kingdoms, you know, fighting, or just like main parties. There's so many different clans that you can play as, so it's pretty cool. I mean, you could try to take it over as the Oda, try the Takeda, you know, if you could play a later scenario, you can try as the Yoshida clan, or you can try as you know, the Tokugawa. So there's definitely a lot to play around with in different scenarios, all, you know, varying up the gameplay. Unfortunately, not all the characters, you know, since this came before Samurai Warriors 2 Extreme Legends, not all the characters from the Extreme Legends version was able to be into this one. So sometimes you will be facing generic officers, but usually it's varied enough that each clan can have at least one person, or close to. It depends. Oda's clan definitely has a crap ton of unique officers, but some of the other clans do. So I really do, like I said, I really do like this game. They just it took what Dynasty Warriors 5 did and expanded upon it. You know, they added formations, which is pretty awesome. They added officer defections mid-battle, which is also awesome. You know, you complete missions to either get an officer to defect, or to prevent an officer from defecting. But man, this game is hella hard. Like, it's really difficult on normal, which is awesome. It's an issue I have with future Warriors games. I feel like future Warriors games are a little too easy, but this can definitely get difficult. And like I said, you know, I've played this like crazy. I've beaten all scenarios. I got all achievements on the 360 version. And I just, you know, once in a while, I'll just pop it up, try a new clan that I haven't tried before, and see how far I can go. So this I definitely easily can recommend. One of the best Warriors games, one of the best Empires games. So definitely highly recommend this title. If you can seek it out for the 360, definitely grab it. It is well worth it. Alright, so the next one I'm going to do is Samurai Warriors 4. I haven't been able to play this one too much, but I really liked what they did with Samurai Warriors. This game, I played this after Dynasty Warriors 8 came out and before Dynasty Warriors 9 came out. And at this point, I was really more feeling the Samurai Warriors series. I just felt like the Samurai Warriors series was such a breath of fresh air compared to the Dynasty Warriors series. They did just enough to justify a lot of what it of its existence. So I definitely enjoyed many of the additions Samurai Warriors 4 added. They added the whole hyper attack, so now it's like, okay, this is how you deal with pawns versus this is how you deal with officers. The only issue though, even though it's much better game, the issues I have though is tone. The tone got way too lighthearted in this one. I mean, 2 already had a little bit too lightheartedness. Before, I feel like was way too lighthearted. It was way too colorful, and it's just like really, really bright. And from a visual perspective, it can get very overwhelming. Not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of the tone, like I said. And sometimes it could just feel downright silly. I feel like the storytelling is just weak in certain moments. I feel like nothing is really taken too seriously, which is my issue. The first game just felt, like I said, so much better tone-wise. But I do like the additions to combat, far more officers to play around with, which is always, like I said, that's always a plus. The more unique officers we can get, the better. I will definitely, as good as this game is, I'm going to, and, with some of the interesting modes that it has, I'm going to put this at the B tier. Basically because, like I said, it does some improvements, but I don't really like the tone. And I think the other games in the 4 series are better, but we'll get to that. Alright, the next is Samurai Warriors 4-2. And the tone, the issues with tone, that remains. It's still way too colorful, way too bright. Some of the characters just look straight out of an anime. There actually is a Samurai Warriors anime, so go watch that. I'd recommend that. But I've reviewed Samurai Warriors 4-2 on my channel, and it was pretty awesome. I would say it had some issues. The PC port is not the cleanest port, but it's not as bad as other, PC ports from Koei around the time. So it was nice to see it a little bit better. I think I had a few glitches at the time, but I think when I play it now, I don't really. And yeah, I like the side modes in this one, the dungeon mode that I do. The create a character one in this one is awesome. I think it's basically the same as 4, but it's awesome here. Just to play around with the modes. The side stories, some of these are pretty cool. Like, I like the Mitsunari Ishida one with his friends. So there are some cool stories to experience here. I would say once you go through the story mode and the side modes and get the achievements and stuff, it kind of loses a bit in terms of replay value. Though Naomasai is the new character introduced, and he's a lot of fun. But I don't know really if this game does much more than B did. It can be a little bit too easy too, on like lower difficulties. I do like the ability though that they added, that you can switch between characters. So you can, it's easier to multitask. But the thing is, your characters move so fast and all have a horse that it kind of negates that. So I'll put this, I still enjoyed this one because I do remember recommending this one. But just compared to everything else, I'm going to put this at the B tier. Alright, next is Samurai Warriors 4 Empires. This one was definitely, I actually enjoyed this more than I expected to. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel after this one because it was another title in the Empire series. But after Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, like I said, I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be too simple or what they were going to do. But I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of stuff from 2 Empires definitely returned. Formations returned, which is always awesome. You got tactics. The way tactics work, they're pretty cool too. So there's a lot that this game brought back from the original. And honestly, I was really enjoying this one. And also with the new units and stuff. Or with the new officers introduced in 4, much more possibilities here and a lot more unique officers to play around with, which, like I said, is always a plus. So the variety is definitely there. The strategy is not as strong as in Samurai Warriors 2 Empires in terms of policies and stuff that you can enact, but man, the storytelling is very strong in this one. I like the bonds you can create between each officer. You can create rivals, you can create loyal servants. You can get married too. In one campaign, I had Shingen Takeda actually marry off No. I thought that was awesome. So like, you can really do some pretty cool things. And like I said, there's cutscenes that react to different things going on in the game. Like if there's a famine, like if a famine happens or something, it'll show your officer reacting to it, or your ruler reacting to it, I should say. Because this is just ruler based. So it's actually pretty cool. I really do like a lot of the things. And I remember at one point I was like, all right, I think I should. I was kind of like, oh, I think I'm getting kind of tired playing this. And I realized at that point I had at least close to like 100 hours already put in the game. And I was like, damn, there's a lot going on in this game. So I really appreciated it. And I think, like I said, it's easily the best of the 4 games, or the 4 engine games, or whatever. I would definitely put it at A. I don't think it's on the same level as Samurai Warriors 2 Empires, but I do think it's up there, and I would highly recommend it. Like I said, a lot of interesting mechanics going on. Fun, a lot of variation in terms of officers to play as, good amount of scenarios to play as, so definitely really good. A nice solid package. Definitely would recommend. Alright, the last one is Spirit of Sanada. Now, I've played a good amount of this. I haven't beaten it. This one takes a more RPG focus on it, and it also introduces Masayuki Sanada, and a few other characters. Now, the cool thing about this one is, since it's more story-based, it focuses on the whole Sanada narrative of, you start with Masayuki, of him in the Takeda clan, and then seeing him, develop as a character, as a father, seeing Yukimura Sanada grow up, Nobuyuki Sanada grow up. So it's cool, it's very like family centric. It's really cool too. Honestly, I really like Spirit of Sanada. I think there's a lot going right for this game. They got some exploration elements, but I will say that it feels kind of linear in terms of the narrative structure. You can play like side battles that are also going on at the same time, but I honestly don't enjoy them because your characters are always way too underleveled. So you'd have to like train them up, which is really annoying. But I enjoyed the story. I would say narratively it's the best. But it can get a little, it can feel a little samey just because the game feels like it pads itself out a little bit too much, because it doesn't want to be too short. But like I said, I do like some of the additions that they have here, and the more RPG take on the whole game. And like I said, you can go exploring and stuff like that, and playing as little Yukimura is kind of cool. Beating up people with a stick, so it's actually kind of cool, even though he's crazy weak. That's another thing, it's just like the characters age as the story goes on. So like I said, it's pretty cool narrative wise and everything, but I just feel like the pacing is a little bit slower, and it can definitely be better in certain ways. Let's see where I can put this. I don't know if I want to put this, I don't know if I'd say it's on the same tiers here. It's not. I've beaten Empire so much at this point, it's really hard to put anything on the same tier, I guess. Like I said, I do like this one, but I haven't like finished it yet, just because I feel like it was getting kind of slow by the end of it. I think I'll put it at the B tier. Maybe if I beat it and I feel like it starts to turn up by the end of it, which it wasn't really turning up for me, I'll put it at the B tier for now. So that's my list on, or this is my tier list, I should say, on the Samurai Warriors games. Yeah, I haven't played a ton of the Samurai Warriors games. Again, that's mainly because of consoles available to me, and also the fact that not all these games have been released on the West. But I hope you guys enjoyed this list. I'm curious to see what you guys say about the Samurai Warriors series. If you guys have any memories or interesting things with the game, any opinions you want to say about my list, I would definitely like to hear them. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you stay safe. And this is Powerhouse, signing off.